Hey, what's up? I'm Devon Walker, and this is My Favorite Lyrics. It's a podcast where we talk about all of our favorite lyrics, and we laugh about them. We just talk about lyrics, and we laugh, and we laugh. Welcome to the podcast, Langston Kerman.
Yeah.
Welcome, Langston, to the show. Langston, thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm excited.
He doesn't know this, but Langston has the only comedy podcast that I actually listen to.
Whoa.
I mostly don't want to listen to niggas that I know talking about shit. Not at my house.
No,
you know
that
what I'm saying?
sucks. That
It's like
sucks
I know these. I've been around y'all plenty, but like that is the only. My mama told me y'all should go check it out if you don't already listen.
That's crazy. That's
They
so
dive into
cool.
Black conspiracy theories, and it's incredible.
Thanks, man. We love Black conspiracy theory, but conspiracy theory in general, I don't want anybody to feel like they're not a part of it.
But y'all don't. I mean,
we only have Black
yeah.
guests.
So some people really aren't a part of it.
No, they're not. But they've now like made themselves a part of it in a way that
Sure.
I have to be like cognizant.
Sure,
I have to be like, nah, you're
y'all
welcome.
got a real white fan base.
You're welcome here is what we say, but we also then make it very clear we don't give a fuck if y'all leave.
It's not about you. It's not about your opinions. You could watch, but don't enter the conversation.
There's not a lot of space for them to really go crazy with us the way that they maybe want to sometimes.
Of course, because of course they always want to be involved.
Brother, they want to be they want to riff with us.
They really want to be, when y'all do the live shows. Y'all went on tour last year. What's the percentage of white people who are pulling up?
It kind of depends on the city.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think we're in a place where we are not so swollen with fans that the demographic repeats itself.
Sure,
you know what I mean? Like it's a lot more of like, oh, in Atlanta, it's a bunch of aunties and like, older Black women, and that's the vibe right there. And then in Portland, we were scanning that audience, looking for anybody that looked a little bit like us. And
I will say
crazy.
I do fuck with Portland more than I would have assumed.
I do too.
I really actually it's actually quietly one of the best food cities I've ever been to in my life.
Well, and frankly, one of the best shows we had on the tour.
I've only had good shows in Portland.
I really had fun.
Shout out to Portland. Also, on My Mama Told Me, y'all do voicemails, which is becoming my favorite part of the show because people are consistently calling in drunk. Yeah,
they almost exclusively call us blackout drunk.
Yeah, and then they say something kind of mean about one of y'all. They say something kind of mean.
It's mostly me. They're mostly like, "Hey, fuck you, Langston. David, you the man. We love you, David.
David, I really fuck with what you doing, Langston. You look like you smell like shit."
Yeah,
they're really saying stuff like that on a regular basis.
Langston, your energy just bugged me, bro.
Hey, but anyway, I just listened to an episode recently. I forget who. It might have just been you and David. But, there literally was an episode where like a guy called in and he was just like, "Hey, what's going on, David and Langston? It's late night. I'm thinking about you guys, and of course I'm drunk."
Yeah.
I was like, as if that was like a prerequisite for him.
He said, and I'm drunk.
Anyway.
It's really insane. I can't tell if it's becoming self-fulfilling prophecy or because we've addressed it now. They're like,
this is what
this is
now?
how we would prefer to speak to you. And I'm not sure I don't want them to be drunk.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Because then they're really exposing, like I listened to, this might have been in the same episode where y'all were talking about it was a gay gentleman who called in, and he was upset because he was just like, how come straight guys don't like women actually? Yeah. And I think he was a little sauce, but he was also telling the story in a way that I was like, I think you've been scorned, man.
I think he was the one that said, of course, I'm drunk. Yeah. And I do think he's been scorned bad by a straight dude who he was having, because he talked about it. He said, I'm regularly having sex with straight men
on a regular basis,
and I don't like how they're treating the women that they're with,
which is a weird.
Yeah, it's like
I don't think that's what you're.
I think you got a bigger issue here.
I don't think you're upset about the way that the women are getting treated. No, it sounds like it's what's going on with Dante.
I think Dante did you dirty, and I think you don't like how that feels when he goes back to his wife and isn't ready to have a real conversation.
And you've decided to come to a podcast to kind of
You said, who's gonna help me with this?
I hope that he calls back later.
I do too. I hope he has a lot of clarifying information. It's very exciting when these people are willing to, and you should figure out a way to do it for your own.
You know what? I like that idea. We about to get a phone number. I'm gonna go ahead and list it here. You guys go ahead and call in, and we will play these live on the podcast. Well, we'll play them pre-recorded on the podcast, but you know what I'm talking about.
Emailing is one thing, but I feel like there is a certain,
you gotta hear their voices.
There's a certain rawness to people like actually being like, I need to talk to you about something.
You gotta remember that even with like all the misspellings and like the rushness of the emails, they still checked it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They looked back over that and they were like, nah.
They're like, nah, I shouldn't talk like that. I can't talk like that.
That's crazy. No, I don't talk like that. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Send. And so like that to your point, there's a filter that they just can't tap into when they call you on a voicemail.
Yeah.
We've gotten people, there's a dude who calls us literally every day
to talk about,
I don't know. I've never listened to it.
You're not listening because at that point it's kind of like, why do you need this? So badly.
It verges on it's like scary now.
Sure.
And so like my option is to engage with this even emotionally and create like a type of fear for myself that I don't need activated. Do you know what I mean?
Did you know Mecky?
Of course.
Did you know that there is an account called Goodnight Mecky that is run by a young black girl?
I did not know this.
Who posts just like incessantly about Mecky. She posts like every video or clip he's ever been in. She like reposts it. She's probably gonna find this is probably and she's DM'd me sometimes being like, hey, like, is Mecky around? Like, do you know, like, is he gonna be like on any of the shows that you're on? There's like a Mecky obsessed.
Oh, this is like scary shit.
Young girl.
Holy shit.
He's talked about it on stage.
Nigga, it follows me. Now that I'm talking to you, she's gonna be like, you know what?
He's also involved in the Mecky universe.
Let's go ahead and get them DMs.
So let's go. You about to get a call. You about to get a voicemail. You about to get a voicemail from the Goodnight Mecky girl asking you some questions. Mecky's also, he's like Moroccan or something.
Yeah,
like
he's
that.
African.
Is he black enough? Is he black enough to get on My Mama Told Me?
Unfortunately, no, we're not.
You're not finding loopholes.
We're not open for Mecky at this time, but I'm a big fan.
I'm sorry, man. Mecky, if you're listening, you can come on this podcast.
He's been emailing us a lot.
You're like, I got some African conspiracy.
He sends me messages. Is Mecky around? Maybe he should be.
I mean, we are a music pod. What was young Langston listening to? What did you kind of grow up on?
I remember getting in a legit argument, almost a fight in high school with a few people because I was probably like freshman year, showed up to school and said that Andre 3000 was the greatest rapper of all time.
Which is a stance that right now, present day, I feel like no one would like. You would not get any heat or any flack.
No, one person would have argued with me.
What was the pushback at that point? Who were people saying was the best rapper?
This was
at that point?
This was probably 2002.
Okay.
2001, 2002. Everybody but him. Do you know what I mean? This is Jay-Z's Blueprint is out. This
the first one.
This is Cameron and Dipset in its heyday. This is like a nasty. As far as my friends were concerned, this was an inflammatory statement. This was something worth fighting about, and it remained that way. I would say up until about 10 years ago, where people started to kind of like be like, I could see why that would be how people feel type shit.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's so rare that anybody gets acknowledged as being one of the best while their career still feels like it's like happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what that was, is like Outkast was still, at that point, Speakerbox didn't even come out yet. Speakerbox was probably like a year or two from coming out.
Speakerbox and Love Below, I think, are 2004, 2005.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like he was a couple albums deep and they had some bangers, but I feel like people were not ready to.
Nah.
Unless you're like a New York City rapper or you're a rapper that's like talking about the plight.
Yeah.
I feel like nobody really wants, unless you're like, we got to fight again. That's why I feel like people were immediately ready to call Kendrick the best rapper.
Nah.
Because he was like, I'm going to tell you a story.
Yeah. But I think that I probably fell into that same category way earlier, where I was sitting back and listening to ATLians and being like, nope, that's it. That's the best guy. I don't care what anybody else is doing. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just going through the catalog that existed was satisfying enough for me to be like, nope, I don't care.
I think I probably would have fought you at that time. I wouldn't have even known 100%. What I was talking about, but I was also, 2001, I'm probably in, I don't know, maybe 4th grade.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry to hear that out loud. That makes me sad.
That's not, you were probably in like 7th or 8th grade.
I was in 9th grade. And, and devastating to know that you're sitting across from somebody in such a better position.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true, because in 2001, I probably would have told you that Bow Wow was the best rapper.
Oh, that's nasty.
That probably would have been Bow Wow, a person that I know you have.
Listen, they would have jumped me, but I'd be jumping you. I'd be punching your head while they punching mine.
Yeah, but it's like there was maybe not a rapper who was more for 4th graders.
Oh no,
than Bow Wow.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Y'all wouldn't even want to be involved in the conversation.
They cooked him up for you.
Exactly.
That was your dinner. And I'm coming over. I'm picking off your plate.
Yeah, and I had no choice almost.
Yeah.
Than to like fuck with Bow Wow. It was kind of like
he was awesome.
Okay, but now it feels like you're reversing course, Langston.
No.
Because a second ago it feels like you were saying you beat my ass in 2001, and now you're saying Bow Wow's awesome. So which one is it?
Big difference, and I'll speak when you're ready, counselor.
Yes.
I think there's a big difference between somebody being awesome and somebody being the GOAT. Yeah. You said you would crown him as the greatest of all time
in 2001.
That's literal insanity.
Yeah, it's not correct.
But the question of him being great, Bow Wow in his heyday was fucking phenomenal. And I would say Bow Wow now is arguably one of the funniest human beings on the planet, and in that way remains phenomenal.
He is, I know you guys on your podcast have spent quite a bit of time talking about Bow Wow.
Entire episodes have been dedicated to Lil Bow Wow.
And how do you feel about the current state of Bow Wow and where he stands today?
I actually think it's a really cool era right now.
Yeah.
Because Bow Wow went from phenomenal rapper
to
shit rapper.
Yeah.
Right?
Happened quick.
Mm-hmm. But then he had this weird reprising where he started teaming up with R&B artists, and that kind of like reintroduced a new Bow Wow.
Is this sort of like when he's doing like Let Me Hold You? Is that kind of the
I think so. I think once he gets into like these
with like Omarion and
the teen years, and he had kind of like, it seemed like for a while not been cool, and then he found his way back to being cool. Then he became a host. Then he became
106 and Park. Shout out.
A do-rag mogul. Do you understand? He transformed our sense of beauty in the beauty supply store.
Fascinating. Have you ever used one of the Bow Wow stringless do-rags?
I have not, but I hear they're pretty solid.
Would you put one? Because here's the thing about the Bow Wow do-rag. I've been to the beauty. For those of the non-Black listeners, who are participating right now, I'll just take a step out and say,
welcome.
I'll just welcome to the show. So happy to have you here. I'll take any listeners that I can have. So it's of any ethnicity. That's okay. I just like, you know what I'm saying? I just like having stuff. So if anybody can help me get more stuff, I really appreciate that. White, Black, if there's Vietnamese listenership, we'd like to invite y'all in. Please call into the show. Let me know what y'all rocking with. Yeah. I know Vietnamese people are rocking with Usher pretty exclusively.
They do like Usher.
Go to any sort of Vietnamese function and go ahead and put on Let It Burn and just watch the whole shit shut down.
Yeah. I would say Vietnamese and Filipino probably love Usher on par with Black people.
At least evenly. Yeah. If not, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
People. Maybe like 5% more than Black people.
Yeah, because like Black men still kind of wince at the concept of Usher. Like we love him, we appreciate him, but the idea of, oh, you ain't gonna steal my girl, you ain't gonna make me feel uncomfortable.
There was a whole Boondocks episode about a man getting his wife stolen by Usher.
We're a little afraid of losing our girl to Usher, and we're a little afraid of his sexuality somehow affecting us.
Yeah, sure.
In some kind of meaningful way.
Any man who can glide around like that, any man who can hit You know what I'm saying? I knew a kid when
he moonwalked sideways.
Yeah, and it's like that's not a thing that I had personally ever seen before.
Nobody was doing it before he did it.
And I'll just say, when I was at summer camp, there was a kid at my summer camp who knew how to do the sideways moonwalk, and he also had a chain.
Yeah,
he would spin around as he was doing. He would do it, spin his chain around his neck at the same time, and we never had a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like I had no bitch at that point, but if I did, I just sort of knew that would have been a wrap. So imagine if the real thing was right in front of you.
Let me tell you something.
What's that?
I knew how to moonwalk sideways.
You were doing that?
I was doing that.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing that let's just talk about it.
No, let's talk about it.
Let's just talk about it, because I'll say anytime there was a light-skinned guy that had any extra ability, there was a lot of hate thrown his way.
Okay.
There was a kid that I went to high school with who was a light-skinned kid. He had green eyes. And he had an S curl. And he could also sing really good, and we hated it. So we really didn't like this guy, because we were like, you can't get to have all that stuff. So was there vitriol coming at you? And we'll come back to the Bow Wow point. I haven't forgotten about it.
We'll never forget about Bow Wow.
We'll always come back to Bow Wow. Know that about
Devin,
the podcast.
This is a Bow Wow podcast.
It should be. It should be. That's Bow Wow. If you're watching, and I'm sure that you are, come to the pod.
Come on down to the
pod.
Come
to the pod.
Man.
Bring one of your special do-rags.
They built all of this for you.
This is all for you, brother.
These walls are made out of good Ohio wood.
That's right. Shad. Come on through.
Come on.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Was there hatred brought towards you? Because if you was at my school, I know we would not have been a fan of you.
I think at a young age, what I figured out was that if I was silly enough about everything, I could avoid any sort of like negative, oh, he takes himself seriously, he thinks he's fly, like light eyes responses to my shit. And so I could moonwalk sideways, but I'd also like dance bad.
You knew you had a top 10 level sideways moonwalk, but you're like, I'm not hitting y'all with that.
Yeah, I would like do it, and then I'd like do something silly after.
I'd bump into the table or something.
Yeah, I'd like jump and wave my arms weird, and then people would be like, fuck him, I don't give a shit.
He not that cool. He can do it pretty good, but like
he cool.
It ain't really all that.
Yeah, it was just probably a self-defense tactic of like, oh, just be cool, man.
The comedian's plight. The future comedian's plight is being
the laughter probably doesn't feel good as getting bitches would.
No,
but it feels.
But that's what's accessible to you at the time.
It also feels better than like trying to get bitches and failing.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Because then you got to really take a swing.
Then I would take a swing.
You could miss the ball.
I would have had to put my full self out and say, "This is the complete me. Will you take it?" And that's terrifying.
That is tough. It's also like I don't know about you, but I feel like being a funny kid in middle school was like not how to get girls. At least not for me. Like I feel like I was very much like I feel like I got older, obviously, like becoming an adult and being a funny person, like that opens up a lot of avenues. That's done well for both of us, I'd imagine, in our life. But like I feel like as like a 7th grader, I feel like everybody was like, literally there would be like girls who'd be like, "You're so funny, LOL," but like one time a girl signed a picture. It's got to be in my dad's house somewhere. She signed a picture where she said like, "Devin, you're so funny, like love you so much." She drew a heart, and then she drew a little line out from the heart, and she said, "Not like that, LOL."
Fuck. Fuck.
She goes, "I love you, but like, just in case you ever wanted to get a little bit of optimism off of that, I'm gonna go ahead and turn that all the way off."
She was like, "Man, she wrote it because she was writing her raw feelings."
Yeah, she was.
She was like, "I love you so much." She was like, "No, I can't risk this. I can't risk putting this in the mail."
Yeah,
and he sees this and interprets this in any way other than just pure, untouchable platonic shit.
It was tough. And you know what's really fucked up is like, I knew that. You know what I'm saying? But you know what's really fucked up is like, I knew we were just friends. I never thought anything of it.
You didn't have to laugh so hard about it.
You know what I mean? It's like, why did you need to like really, why'd you need to drive the knife in even further?
We were on the same page, sweetheart.
100%. I would have known what that heart meant the whole way. And you feeling like, oh, I need to make sure that he knows. Yeah. That's heartbreaking stuff.
That's really cruel shit.
And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I got older and then I started to figure out how to parlay that into.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a symptom of just a young girl or if that's a symptom of like all the things that women tell us are necessary for healthy communication and relationships being activated in the meanest way possible. You know what I mean? Like we're being demanded this transparency where we all just tell each other what we think.
Sure.
But like this mean ass little girl is telling you exactly what she thinks, and it's only gonna hurt you.
Yeah, there was no version where I was gonna see. There was no, like, you know what I'm saying? Either way, even if I did have feelings for her, that was gonna hurt my feelings. If I didn't, it hurt even worse.
How could we continue? Like, if you think we have a healthy relationship, how do we move forward from this?
I don't.
I beg of you, tell me what we can do to remain close after you write. Not like that, LOL.
It's like, where do we go from Ashley? If you watch this, if she hears this, she'll know it was her. Ashley,
you turned this man into a monster.
And that's true. I probably wouldn't be a stand-up comedian today if it wouldn't have been for that.
He would have ran a hedge fund.
Yeah.
He'd be rich right now, and he's doing fine. But okay. No, he'd be swimming in gold coins like Scrooge McDuck.
Come on, man! I could have a plane. You know what I'm saying? I could be living like Clarence Thomas right now.
You fucked him, Ashley.
Yeah,
he could be Clarence Thomas.
I could be Clarence Thomas. I could be getting lavish gifts. I could be getting cool stuff. I could be flying to Turkey like Eric Adams.
Fishing hats. Yeah, and boats.
All sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now I got to do this.
Now look at him.
Now I got to do it. And I got a full mic set up in Los Angeles.
And we lied. He doesn't own this studio. No. He's renting. He's visiting.
Here's the thing. I don't own anything.
That's crazy.
You know,
that's on you, Ashley.
I have no real assets. I have this laptop. I have a bunch of sneakers.
He thinks a laptop is an asset. That's on you, Ashley.
That's on you, Ashley. That's where it started.
He doesn't even know what an asset is because of you.
I did genuinely think this was something, but I guess you can't really. I guess this is not really getting.
It doesn't accrue.
Yeah, that's probably ultimately this is not. It's not gaining me any equity.
I think you care about it a lot, and that's cool.
It means something to me, but I guess that is different from having an actual asset. And things like that are things that I could have known if you didn't write that little heart with the line to the side, Ashley.
Fuck you, Ashley.
So just know that.
Fuck you.
You did something really bad. Told you this off mic, but Langston, we're gonna get into the lyrics. Well, two things.
Yeah.
One, you are our most prepared guest that we've ever had come to the show.
Let's go.
Nobody has come here with more. I don't want to ask too much homework. I'm having a lot of comedians on the show.
Yeah.
We're famously people who don't like to do shit.
No.
You know what I'm saying? You have a small amount of homework on your podcast, and I know that sometimes people don't even.
We demand homework, and in that way, I finish my homework.
Sure, and I appreciate that about you. I will say, I told you this off mic as well, but all I ask of my guests is that they bring me a song.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to give me specific lyrics. I'll find those. I'll dig into that myself. All I ask is one song. Langston gave me several.
Yeah.
Sam J, I don't know which episode is going to come out first. When we had Sam on the podcast, I can't stress enough how angry she was that I asked her to even do that. She was really pissed off.
Yeah.
And I like that you brought a different energy to this show. Thank you. Sam, if you're watching this, don't be like that anymore.
Sam, act right.
Act right.
You know.
Be more like you got one song in you.
You know.
You know.
You know when you're misbehaving.
Come on now, Sam. Anyway. Oh, also, to add to the fact that Langston is really prepared, when I saw Langston yesterday, he didn't even know the podcast was today. I saw Langston yesterday. It was just like, hey man, I'll see you tomorrow. And he goes, huh?
You see how easy it is to turn it around, Sam?
That's what I'm saying.
Act right.
He didn't even know it was today. Still came most prepared guest that we've ever had. And that's beautiful. And we appreciate you for
I worked
that.
on this for 15 minutes while I was hanging out with my son.
And he has a family. He has a family. Langston has 2 children.
This didn't
in
come
a household.
from any hard work. But I'm so happy to know that I'm...
The bar is just so low, but you've
king.
cleared it in such an insane way. We'll come to the first one that you wanted to talk about, which is a song from 2003 from the Ludacris album Chicken and Beer.
Yeah.
Which is really kind of an early aughts classic in my opinion.
I would say maybe his best album.
I was a word of mouth guy.
Word of mouth, okay.
I was a word of mouth guy.
Yeah,
also, you know, the thing that I've realized, and this is no critique of you in general, but I will say I consistently end up coming on here and talking about songs from 20 years ago in a way that I'm like, man, I should probably bring some of my own stuff from right now. I do like consistently. I'm talking about Bush era tracks.
Everybody I know is washed.
You know, like I guess I should think about, but that's on me. That's something I got to figure out. Right now, we're going to talk about the song that Langston brought, which is a song called "Hoes in My Room" by Ludacris, which I had not heard in a really long time. I had not heard probably
it's a classic.
Yeah, it's a real classic song. What is your relationship with "Hoes in My Room"?
Thank you for asking.
Yes.
"Hoes in My Room," obviously, the song itself comes out while I'm in high school.
Okay.
And so that's huge for me. And again, I'm a silly kid.
Yeah.
And so it's a song, for those that are unaware, about Ludacris finishing a concert and then wanting to find some hoes.
That's right.
That's the whole premise.
Yep.
He can't find any hoes.
Yeah.
And then he has to call Snoop Dogg, who then is like, man, I'll get hoes to you in 15 minutes.
Also, just the premise of that song in general is so crazy to me because if you were around in 2003, that would have been one of the last things that Ludacris ever had to worry about. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you finish a concert and there's just not a hoe
hoes around. Ludacris, you know that's a flawed premise. It's like Ludacris was so hot in 2003. I know he wasn't. It could have been hoes absolutely everywhere.
It's the failure to imagine for me with rappers sometimes where like he was so on top of the world that he couldn't even imagine the evening where he didn't like kill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he had to have had a big ass concert.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, man, if you want to be honest about not having hoes, it was Sunday.
Sure.
The show tickets didn't sell the way that you planned.
Right, exactly.
You're at home, you're feeling down.
Yeah.
You thought that you had a thing going and now you're just alone.
Yeah.
Maybe in a hotel room because you traveled to the city and then they had to cancel for some reason.
Because of low ticket sales.
And then you can't find hoes.
Sure. And we could believe that. But it's just like, Ludacris, this is a multi-platinum album. Ludacris, I read a statistic that said like in like a 7-year period, he sold 10 million albums.
It's really crazy.
So it's just like, you can't sell 10 million albums and also be on the search for hoes.
No.
But, you know, I digress.
Here we are.
Here we are. We're living in Ludacris's reality now.
It is the art that he's presented to us. We can only interpret.
We got to meet him where he's at.
Exactly. And right at the words coming out of his mouth.
Sure. And continue. I'm sorry. I interrupted. You were saying.
And then so he calls Snoop Dogg for hoes.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg promises that the hoes will be to him in 15 minutes.
Yep.
Ludacris arrives to his hotel room, opens the room, only to discover the ugliest hoes he had ever seen.
Yep.
And will not stop talking about how ugly they are.
And so, because I just revisited this song earlier today, is your understanding that all the ugly women that are in the room were provided to him by Snoop Dogg? Or are these just, I was curious about where these hoes came from.
Thank you for asking that question. It's an important sort of shift that happens in the song. Because in the first verse, Ludacris is pretty certain that Snoop sabotaged him. That he sent him these ugly hoes.
Right,
and
right,
he's
right.
like, he's essentially saying, what is Unc on?
Right.
Giving me these ugly bitches.
Right.
Now, in the second verse, Snoop takes over and he's like, man, what the fuck? Who are these ugly bitches?
Specifically, the first line is the first line is, who the hell let them booger bears out they sell?
Yes. Now,
and Ludacris goes, not me.
Not me. Now, here's why that line means so much to me.
Yes.
It's the line that stands out the most and keeps this song in my head forever.
Yeah.
Is that I laughed at that so hard that I then bought a dog. When I at my next dog that I owned, I named Booger Bear. It was a little pug.
That's incredible.
Named Booger Bear because Snoop Dogg referred to a bunch of ugly women as Booger Bears.
Had you ever heard that previously?
No, and it just implanted itself, and I was like, this is the funniest man alive.
He is funny.
This is the greatest song I've ever heard, and I will never forget it for the rest of my life.
Who the hell let them Booger Bears out they sell?
Out they sell.
Out they sell.
They're prisoners.
They're locked up in a pen somewhere. These Booger Bears, they can't even be out in society.
Send these ugly motherfuckers to jail.
They're so ugly they get locked away in prison.
They got to be locked away Magneto style under the earth.
Just so that they don't get loose.
Ugly powers ruminating through the ground.
Just sort of soaking in there.
Yeah, no.
They're not going to be good. Also, in this theoretical ugly jail, if you in the ugly jail, like, you're not going to be good when you know what I'm saying? You're not going to act. If people are like, you're so ugly, we got to lock you away. You're not going to come out and act right.
No, you're going to act up.
You're going to act up.
You've been called prison level ugly.
Yeah. You've been cast out by society strictly because of your appearance. Some people are murderers.
You're going to bite
look
somebody.
so bad that you're in a pen.
You're going to bite somebody's face.
Yeah.
You're going to bite somebody's face like a chimp.
And it does.
You're gonna eat it
You're gonna rip somebody's nose off because everybody called you ugly.
And that's on us. Again, we're doing the wrong thing to the chimps. That's why they're biting our faces.
We shouldn't treat them like that.
We shouldn't treat them like that, and we shouldn't treat Booger Bears like that.
No, and it's also like, just to the point of the chimp lady, stop giving them little niggas Gatorade so much. Stop. They're not supposed to have that. There's no way they're supposed to be having Gatorade and chicken nuggets.
Chimps shouldn't drink blue.
Come on,
that's not right.
We shouldn't drink blue, but I know an animal that's supposed to be in the wild should never have anything that is blue. You better give him milk and water, and that's it.
Blue is a sin. That's an unnatural color.
It's against God. It's against God. And they were giving us that on a regular basis. I drank blue every day for years.
Blue. Yeah.
Especially if you played sports growing up.
If you think that blue was an option and I wasn't picking it, you're wrong.
Every single time.
Every single time.
Blue Powerade.
Come on.
Straight to the dome.
Arctic.
1,000 grams of sugar. 1,000 grams of sugar right to the head. That's crazy. I'll just go into the very first verse that Ludacris goes into. He says, fresh off the streets, just finished a show in Long Beach.
Yep.
Ready to relax and kick up my feet. Maybe smoke a blunt or two. That's what I want to do. Broke out and I called up the homeboy Snoop.
Yep.
And then Snoop says, what's happening, nephew? He said, oh, nothing. Just called looking for some women who can fondle my balls.
Wait a minute, because you sped past this. Oh, nothing. Just called is the funniest thing you can say back to a man.
To Snoop Dogg.
To Snoop Dogg, no less. But any man, if I called my boy today and he was like, what's up? And I was like, oh, nothing.
Just called. Have you seen this thing that's been popping up on the internet where it's been a bunch of niggas who call their homies to say goodnight?
I really like it.
Yeah.
I really like it, but I also recognize that like it's become so trendy that I can't do it.
Sure, yeah. Like everybody knows about it at this point.
I think if you've missed it, then you're a fool. And
do you feel like your homies would be receptive? I will say the black men in my life are like, I think most of them would be a little perturbed, but like maybe not angry in the way that I've seen. In some of these videos, these dudes are like pissed off. Like, hey, what the fuck you said? Like in a way that I was like, my brother, has anybody said goodnight to you? Why is it hurting you in this way?
Those are my favorites.
That's so scary to me.
It's so funny to me that because the dudes who are calling knew that was going to be the energy.
Yes.
And so
they also called their most toxic homies.
Yeah, and in that way, it's so cool because they're just truly like navigating them through like a harsh reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're truly being like, nah, man, I'm just saying good night. And then they're like, nigga, never.
Don't nigga, say no fucking good night to me. You talking about you getting in a bed, you saying good night.
It's daylight in my heart all the time. Like, all right, man, if that's what you need. And they're just like, they're being so sweet with each other, and it really speaks to the closeness of their friendship.
That's true.
It warms my heart more than I think it feels like this crazy toxic moment almost.
Sure.
It just is like, damn, they're so sweet. They really figured that out.
How do you think your homies would react if you called to tell them goodnight?
You know what? I've created a weird, I guess, system in my life where I've really narrowed down true friends to silly billies. Everybody's so silly that they would take it further and it would get weird and I'd hang up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they would flip it back around on you.
I would hate.
Now they telling you what they wearing and what color boxers they got on.
Nah, Lane.
And now you gotta nah. Come on, you saying goodnight?
You wanted to say goodnight.
Nah, come on, hop on the FaceTime.
Tell me what you got on. Let me see. Let me see some.
Yeah, I feel like that's.
Yeah, I don't want that energy coming back.
Sure.
So I think, thankfully, I have so many silly people in my life. Unfortunately, I think standardized pranks aren't going to work.
It's not really going to get there. I feel that way as well. I don't have any people. Yeah, I don't think I've constructed my life similar to you in a way that I feel like anybody that I called to do that with would just be like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're playing.
Yeah.
Now let's go ahead and play.
It is funny that like people choose not to have silly billies in their lives.
I think some people never had a choice.
It's really fascinating when you go like, oh man, so you just don't have a motherfucker who will play along in a bit at all.
No, especially not, niggas are so scared to like be gay or like be perceived that way. That, like they cannot, even for a moment, they can't even let the joy into their heart to just like play around in that water because they're like, if I get a drop of that on me, it's over. And I get a drop of the gay water on me, then that's then I'm cooked.
It's the reason why Suck My Dick is like the official like I have to fight you now ass phrase for black men. Yeah, is because that means you just put a little drip drop of gay on me.
You just spray. You got a little splash of the gay. Yeah, and now I'm infected, and like the only way to get that off me is to beat your ass.
I have to kill the source like a vampire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You gotta go to the biggest. It's like Sinners. You gotta find the biggest.
Come on,
the biggest dog and kind of wipe him out.
Get that Irishman out of here.
Yeah. Okay, he calls Snoop Dogg up. He says, "Oh, nothing. Just called."
Yeah.
He said he's looking for some women who can fondle his balls.
That's right.
Which, to me, really stood out because it was like it's such a specific activity to be asking for from Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like we've all had, there's a version of when you're young where it's like you call somebody and you're like, hey, can you come through? Like bring some hoes. Yeah. Like bring some hoes. Is it girls over there? But to specifically be like, hey, I'm looking for somebody to fondle my ball, to say that to the homie, that's my homies would react weirder to that than if I said goodnight to them.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, what?
I don't know what you want to do in there. That's not my business.
Yeah, don't tell me the specific activity.
Go ahead, keep me out of that, Ludacris.
Also, just trying to get fondled is like, it's almost sweet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's almost nice. That's almost like him saying he just wants to be held.
And I will say that he was sweet throughout that entire sentence. Yeah. He said, "Oh, nothing, just called. I'm looking for some fine women?
Looking for some women who can fondle my balls.
Women who can fondle my balls. He don't even care if they fine. Looking for some women who can fondle my balls. And maybe that's just Ludacris being a little protective of what he really said, which is, Snoop, I'm lonely and not in the best place. And if you have any hoes who can help out, that'd be nice."
And now we're digging into it.
Yeah.
Now we're actually digging into it. It's like maybe actually what's at the heart of this is like maybe you just want to feel seen.
I think this was a man who was hurting.
Yeah. Maybe he's living a life as a performer. People looking at him all the time. He's dealing with the trappings of fame.
Yep.
He just wants some companionship.
He called a mentor.
Yeah.
And he said, "You've been through this. You're a married person. You run a peewee football team. Mm-hmm. How can I find some hoes that are going to give me meaning rather than hoes that are going to take something away from me?"
And maybe that's what these ugly women are. And that's not something that he was ready to entertain.
He's running from it.
You know what I'm saying? It's like maybe he thinks that he needs, IG didn't exist in 2003, but he thinks he needs the IG baddie with the BBL.
Yeah.
Maybe actually what he needs is somebody who's a little hurt, but has a wealth of feelings and compassion that they can put into his life.
Everybody's so focused on Booger in the statement.
Right.
But bears are cute.
Totally.
Bears offer a warmth and a safety that maybe you're not going to find with some baddie on Instagram.
Think about that, Ludacris.
Man, Ludacris, whew, Ashley, Sam J, Y'all niggas gotta grow up.
Yeah, y'all gotta change. Y'all gotta change. Y'all gotta look inside. There's actually some deep change that needs to be made. Just know that.
You gotta work on yourselves.
Also, in this, when he's talking about all the things that he needs, he just says that he wants women. He never at any point is like, I need the baddest bitches that you got.
No,
and he's saying he needs them in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's an unacceptable
amount. I will say Snoop offered that
he said 15 minutes.
Snoop did the Domino's thing where he's like, we'll get it to you for, a certain time or less. But Ludacris was very receptive of that. He didn't go, that seems fast, man. Take your time. See, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, I know I'm demanding a lot of you in this moment.
You're good. You don't have to rush. My favorite part of this song is the ending. Because we do eventually find out who did, in fact, put the hose in Ludacris's room. The final line.
Yes. Would you like to read it for the people?
The final line of hose in, what is it? Hose in my room. That's the name of it. I always say who let these hoes in my room, but that's not right. Then it got to my head and something reminded me. I know who let him in. It was Bill O'Reilly. Then Snoop calls him the F word, and not the one that we are okay saying.
No, it's a 2003 word. It's not a 2025 word.
And he calls him a white bread chicken shit nigga.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you finish a song.
That's true.
That's how it's fucking done, fellas.
You hear that, Kendrick? That's how you need it. Next time you do a battle rap, go ahead and wrap them up like that.
Go ahead and finish it off with a little bit of a weird political statement.
That's right. I had to look that part up, and I forgot about the fact that Bill Riley used to be like actively getting into it with rappers
constantly
on air.
Yeah,
he would bring, and which always felt crazy to me. Where I was like, why is Dame Dash going on Bill O'Reilly?
It was weird because he was also like bringing him on to lose.
Right,
like Cameron being like, "You mad?" Is awesome. It remains like one of the most iconic television moments that I hold on to.
There's just nothing meaner you can do to somebody who's actively angry than be like,
he was really mad.
You mad? Huh? Yeah. That's nothing is gonna make you boil up with more anger.
It's also that he couldn't hear himself over him being like, It was some real schoolyard shit that like broke that old man's brain.
He hadn't experienced that. No. He hadn't been around enough young black kids to know that you gotta get out. There's a point, me and my homie talk about this, where there's a point when you're getting roasted where it's like quicksand, where it's like the faster you're trying to get away from it, the deeper you're going to sink yourself in.
There were certain people who I was scared to roast with because of that, where like I was a roast. You know what I mean? Like
I see that for you.
We went in, but also like there were motherfuckers I left alone because if you get on top of me, you are not going to stop pounding my head till I am done.
Yeah,
I'm cooked.
And that's a big part of like young black kid roasting. I feel like is like once you get to the point where somebody's just saying that you're mad and making a sound.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you can't try to logic your way out of it. That's where Bill O'Reilly
I'm actually not making a sound.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, like, when somebody gets to the point where they're like, look, now we've had, look at his face.
Yeah.
Look his earring. Look, he got his forehead going like that.
Everything is a weapon. Everything is dangerous.
Every movement that you make is, there we go. Look at this. It's once you're in that space,
that he's making noise, niggas are running circles,
spinning around. It's really over for you.
No, they took a final swing at Bill O'Reilly. I really respect it.
He got what was coming to him.
Yeah,
Bill got what was coming to him.
Yeah, he also is probably wealthier than he was before. It's all scary.
Yeah, I'll tell you something about Bill Riley. Say what you will about Bill Riley, he's got assets.
Yeah,
he's got assets, and it's more than a laptop.
He's got a few more than laptops.
he probably got multiple laptops.
I think he's got a couple laptops.
That's tough. Another thing, I mean, you must have brought this. This did not come from our producers. So I told you this yesterday, but specifically watching Everybody's Live, Mulaney's show that you worked on.
Yeah.
There are some things that are, so I know who works in that writer's room, and there are so many things that came from this season of the show that I was like, Well, that came from Langston specifically. There was only one person who works there who could have brought this. I guess that's all you can really. I guess that's
my dream.
Yeah, I guess that's all you can really ask for being in a room. Is
It's nice because Mulaney is so empowering for all of us. Where like we all get to for real be on the show and like engage with it in an honest way, and so like we've built like a quiet lore. In the Mulaney space where people are guessing who wrote things and like being like, oh, that's a Langston piece, that's an Alex piece. Like they're aware of shit that we do in a cool way, and that's all I want.
That's awesome. That's true. That's all we're ever really asking for.
If I gotta write it, I want people to be like, hey, you know who wrote that?
That's clearly we know where that came from.
That's cool.
And to that exact point, there's something that's in the notes here that absolutely must have come from Langston, which is a reference to R. Kelly's performance in Ethiopia.
That's right.
Which
there's a classic concert in Ethiopia. Right. I hope you're aware of what we're talking about, but if you're not,
certain groups that listen. I'm trying to build a multicultural audience.
Sure,
there's a section of my audience who's aware of the Bow Wow do-rags, which we did not come back to. Look, just know that most do-rags have strings on them. Bow Wow's created a do-rag that's got a Velcro wrap that you wrap around and you connect like that.
Yep.
And it looks silly. It looks pretty silly.
Oh, you don't respect it.
It might be effective. It might be effective. It's hard for me to believe. I'm so steeped in the do-rag that I'm familiar with that it's hard for me to believe that is the best way to do it.
Okay.
But it's sold well. It's sold well. So I think it just kind of looks silly. But Langston, next time I'm going to send something to the house. Send me your address.
Yeah.
I'm going to send... I would like us both to experiment with the Bow Wow do-rag and see what's going on.
I'm getting a sense right now that this is a little bit of some old nigga shit.
Oh, absolutely.
I think you're trapped in the past.
Absolutely.
That's in a way that's not going to free you enough to experience the Bow Wow do-rag as it should be.
Okay.
I think you're always going to see the bad in the do-rag, but I think, frankly, what Bow Wow is offering is innovation. And I think that space has not been innovated in a long time.
Nobody's touched it. That's true.
How can we get to progress without that kind of innovation?
Bow Wow, again, I know that you're watching right now, and I'd like to apologize for my resistance to the innovation that you've brought into the do-rag space.
Thank you for doing that. That's the type of apology Ashley should think about.
Yeah. Ashley, you know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, what's funny is I could see Bow Wow listening to this podcast before I could see Ashley from the 7th grade listening to this podcast. But Ashley from the 7th grade, if this ever does cross your desk, let's talk about it. Let's go ahead and make this whole.
Go ahead and do that.
But anyway, you were talking about
there's a classic concert.
R. Kelly's
performing in Ethiopia, where at some point he sort of stops everything.
Yeah,
and he announces essentially that he broke up with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
His girlfriend, the man's been married for some time, but he broke up with his girlfriend and he's in a bad way.
Yeah.
And he's looking for a new girlfriend, specifically a girlfriend he can take back from Ethiopia to America.
That's right.
And the song, the part of the song that means the world to me is when he goes, "Do you have your passports? Did you get your shots? Girl, would you like to come back with Rob to America?"
To America!
America.
He is kind of actively trying to sex traffic women.
Internationally.
Right. He is kind of actively saying like, hey, I want to bring you to where I live so that I can have sex with you in a way that's like, I mean, we already knew at that point.
Yep.
But it's like if there were any doubters.
Baby, I want to take you somewhere where you have no resources.
Yeah. You don't know a single person.
No connection to any community.
You might not speak the language.
And I want you to live with me.
Yeah. Don't ask any further questions.
And yes, please film this. Everybody turn your cameras on. I want you to hear this too.
Just a dastardly man.
What a psychopath.
And it took us a long time to get him.
Yeah.
It took you were in Chicago.
The girl who he peed on went to my high school. Yeah, when they show in the Surviving R. Kelly documentary the blurred out picture of her, she is wearing my high school basketball jersey. Like that she's on our basketball team.
For a hot second, when I heard it, it sounded like she was wearing your.
She had like
a Langston Kerman number 11 Lions jersey, and that would have, would have been dark, but it would have connected you to history in a way that, like, I think few people could say.
Yeah, R. Kelly said, "Can we do it at your house?" I said, "Yeah, that's cool.
Come on through, brother,
man. I'm a big fan of your work."
I've heard one of my homies who's from Chicago says that there was a specific McDonald's that R. Kelly used to post up at called the Rock and Roll McDonald's.
Rock and Roll McDonald's. And it was the biggest and grandest McDonald's I think ever built in history.
Hey, if R. Kelly gonna do one thing, he gonna do it big. He not going to no regular rinky-dink ass McDonald's. Nah, come on, Robert.
Where the Rockers and Rollers be.
Come on, he gonna go to the big time one. He don't do nothing small.
It was like a fucking fortress of McDonald's.
Yeah.
And kids would go there being excited that it's like, oh, it's McDonald's, but more. You know what I mean? And so, Robert Kelly would show up there. And
that was a place that my homie's sister was like forbidden from go. It was like, you cannot be at the Rock and Roll McDonald's.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's not a good place, and it wasn't good, healthy for anybody.
Does it still exist?
No, now it's like, the building still exists, and it is still McDonald's, but it is not Rock and Roll McDonald's anymore. It's now like International McDonald's.
Sure. So they probably had to step away from.
Yeah, I think Rock and Roll McDonald's has a few lawsuits kicking in.
Sure. Let's get into really quickly just a couple things that have been submitted by some listeners of the podcast.
And anybody who's emailed so far, thank you so much for submitting lyrics. We really appreciate them. And if anybody's got new lyrics that they want to send, y'all can send them over to myfavouritelyricspod@gmail.com.
We've got a song. This is a song that I like truly, truly love.
Yeah.
Slow Motion by Juvenile.
Let's go.
And Daniel M emailed in the lyric, "I'm a dick thrower, her neck and her back hurting." And Daniel asks, for years, Daniel asks, for years, which is such a funny, in relation to dick throwing. It's like, so I've always wondered with dick throwing. He says, for years, I've been trying to figure out what a dick thrower is. Is it about size? Is it about experience? Is it about attitude? Or is it just something you have or you don't? That's Daniel's question, which I think just this question alone lets me know that I'm curating like a beautiful multicultural experience, because it's like, this didn't come from a black man.
And this didn't come from a dick thrower.
If you gotta ask.
If you checking in, Daniel, don't worry about it. This don't involve you, my man.
Probably not really doing it like that. But that's okay. You probably got other attributes. You could probably skateboard or like draw real good.
I bet you read fast.
Woo! And you could probably read out loud so quick. When it got popcorn to you, I bet you knew every single line and every single word.
They counted on Daniel, and Daniel delivered.
That's beautiful, Daniel. It's not all about dick
Good
throwing.
for you. You're better than Ashley.
By far. Would you like to answer this question first?
I think dick throwing is confidence. It's bravado.
Yeah.
Sure, it helps if you got a bunch of meat.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Ain't nobody mad. It helps.
Ain't nobody ever been mad.
It makes the throw look more Olympic.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But frankly, I think dick throwing is more about an attitude to fucking.
I would agree with that as well. I feel like it's like, this is such a funny question to me, but I do feel like it's dick throwing it's like throwing anything else. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, actually, Daniel, everybody who is fucked has thrown dick.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like throwing out the first pitch at a baseball game.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, we all can do it, but like whether or not we're throwing it well is like an entirely different conversation.
Are you letting the elements affect you? Mm-hmm. Is the yelling? Is the screaming? Mm-hmm. Is the fact that, you
on an air mattress.
Yeah. Yeah, you're staying somewhere you didn't want to stay, but you are.
Yeah. The door don't lock, and you at your cousin's house, and you gotta keep one hand on the door, and then you gotta also focus on what you got going on. It's like that.
And sometimes that helps somebody achieve dick throwing.
For some people,
and some people that breaks them.
I personally need peace.
That's always been my game.
That's where I'm at in my life. You know what I'm saying? I've reached my 30s now. I'm looking for. I need quiet. I need to focus.
I'd like a build up.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like a candle to be involved on some level. And that makes me feel nice. So yeah, Daniel, just to answer your question, I think it sounds like you got a little bit of work to do. But stay the course.
Stay the course.
You know what I'm saying? Study. Talk to your friends.
Just because you ain't throwing dick right now doesn't mean you can't throw dick ever.
That's true. You know what I'm saying? Like Peyton Manning probably wasn't always throwing the football like that. Mm-mm. He had to start somewhere, and then he had to grow. He had
to learn to balance his head. Then he could throw a football,
and that's a lot of equilibrium that my man's head. Yeah, my man got the dome on him. Speaking of George Bush era rap lyrics, this song is from the song Duffel Bag Boy.
Okay.
By Players Circle, which was 2 Chainz group before he was 2 Chainz, when he was still known as
Titty
Boy.
Yeah.
With Lil Wayne, and what does he say? You niggas barely dressing. I got thousands piling. That's that salad dressing. I'm on my 1,000 island.
That's crazy.
2 Chainz, let me just take a second to talk about 2 Chainz really quickly. In the way that, like, I don't think that they, like, people really give, I was talking about this, like, 3 days ago, literally. I don't think that they give rappers credit for being geniuses unless they're, like, talking about the plight of the black man.
Dog, I'm so happy to hear you say this.
I genuinely think that 2 Chainz has some lines and some bars. 2 Chainz bars are part of the reason why this podcast even exists.
Yeah.
I think he has some actual genius bars when 2 Chainz has that line where he goes, Givenchy, nigga, God bless you. What? How'd you do that? How did you think it? And he said it like a sneeze. That's not that many people could come up with that. And I think a lot of people are going to think that this is stupid. I actually think that this is I think he's thinking on a higher level.
I really think he's a genius.
I feel the same.
And sometimes I find myself, and this is my own fragility. Yeah. I find myself running from that feeling.
Yeah. You don't want to call him a genius.
Because nobody else is going to join in.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
It all circles back. It all circles back to
where that trauma of being like on an Andre 3000 wave before niggas were ready to have a real conversation.
Yeah.
Now it's the same shit, and I go, I don't want to fucking argue, but this nigga's great.
2 Chainz is special.
He's great.
He really is special, and he's been doing it for a really long time.
And then you get into it with young people. I have younger friends who are like, 2 Chainz, that old ass. And it's like, no, bro, stop. This is great.
It's beautiful.
He's good. He's doing a good thing always.
2 Chainz, if you ever see this, please come onto the podcast.
Come on.
Nothing would bring me more joy than to sit across from 2 Chainz and talk to him about some of his bars, because I think and just like figure out where his mind was at, because I think he's a special talent.
I couldn't agree with you more.
And speaking of special talents, we've had a great episode with Langston Kerman.
Let's go.
This has been fantastic. Langston, you got anything you want to plug?
My mama told me. Go ahead and give that a listen. Me and David Bory, very funny comedian, hosted together. He's hilarious. You can follow me at Langston Kerman on all social media platforms. And you can watch my special. It's called Bad Poetry. It's on Netflix. And John Mulaney directed it. And that's pretty cool.
And it's really funny. I saw it.
Thanks,
great stuff. His mom used to date Benny the Bull.
Married him. This wasn't no small going. They really went for it.
You really from Chicago, for real.
Yeah.
Langston, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank
you guys. Y'all have a good one. Bye.
Thank you everybody for listening, and thank you especially to the squad who made today's episode possible. The executive producer, Lauren Mandel, associate producer, Carmen Kerrigan, Justin Borland at Melrose Podcast, who engineered the episode. And thanks so much, guys. We'll catch y'all next week.